Hello, guys. Welcome back to Real Red Talk and welcome to Sunday Social. Joining me today, we have the one and only Shreyas Singh. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Nick. How are you doing?
I'm good. You had a nice weekend?
Yeah,
Have
yeah.
you,
Perfectly nice. And I have a holiday tomorrow as well, so it's even better.
ooh, where are we
Yeah.
going?
9 a.m. till bed. Then I'll think if I want to wake up, then might sleep again.
Okay. Are you missing football at all?
Yeah. I definitely am. I need football to actually spice up my weekends.
It's been a bit of a struggle, hasn't it, at the minute? No
Yeah.
football. We've obviously halfway through this ever dragging international break, guys. The United players have been performing relatively well, though, for their respected nations, especially the Portuguese lads, who we're going to take a closer look at that. Sorry. There's a big decision that needs to be made on David De Gea's contract. I feel like there may be a difference on opinion on that between me and Trez. And Nemanja Matic has been talking to the media about Erik ten Hag and United's current form. So if you're new to the channel or just like the content in general, make sure you click that subscribe button. We're 25 off 600 and we're trying to hit that before the next United game. So please help us achieve our goal. As I said just then, we're going to start off with the international break, look at a couple of players in particular who've been performing really well. I want to start off with Portugal, Shreyas. Diogo Dalots scored 2 last night and assisted 1.
Yeah.
One of the goals in particular with his weak foot outside the box was an absolute banger. Bruno Fernandes got a goal and assist, and Ronaldo got an assist as well. So all three Manchester United players having the biggest say against Czech Republic. And I thought it was an interesting quote I wanted to read out for you from Jose Mourinho a few years ago, but it's come back to life due to Dalot's kind of performance last night.
Yeah.
Which reads,
Yeah.
in his age group, he is the best fullback in Europe. He is an extremely talented young defender with all the qualities to quickly become a great player for this club. Obviously, back in 2018 when he was managing the club. And then I just want to read out a few stats for you, and I'll get into a couple of questions. So, Diogo Dalots' game by numbers against Czech Republic last night: 100% tackles won, 100% dribbles completed, 94 pass accuracy. 78 touches, 49 passes completed, 2 out of 3 ground duels won, 2 long balls completed, 2 shots on target, and 2 goals. Man of the match vibes, was absolutely quality. My question for you is, how impressed have you been with him for United and for Portugal, and how big is his ceiling, do you think? How good can he be?
I think what we are seeing right now from Dalot is something that we expected from him, because when Ragnick actually came in for the first 4 to 5 weeks, Dalot was one of the best players on the pitch, and pretty much actually showed that on the pitch as well, that he can actually make that right back position for Manchester United his own. When he's on form, he can actually turn the game around from that right hand flank. He is good when it comes to linking up with the right winger, or even when it comes to linking up with the midfield and making those overlap runs. And yeah, I think I am impressed. I thought that it would still take him a bit of time to actually, get this consistency and be able to impact games this much, because he's still fairly young. And I think, yes, there is definitely immense talent there. I think he also fits into the category of a fullback that Erik ten Hag would like. And I think definitely in the coming 1 to 2 seasons, he could definitely be a finished player who would be, we could be saying that, he just needed some time to adapt. He just needed some time to express himself in this lineup. Because if I compare it, Dalot hasn't been one of the players who's been around the squad that much. He just started to actually move into the squad when Rangnick came in. And even when Rangnick came in, there was a time when he got suddenly dropped for no reason by Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And then he was able to come in again. And now that the season has started, the start was a bit tough, but after that, the way he has, changed things around, he's pretty much, he's one of the most important, I would say, element in that back four as well. Because like we say that the new Silk and Steel in Varane and Martinez, you could see that new, and you could say that we can see the new version of fullbacks in Malaysia and Diogo Dalots as well. And in the short time that they've been, involved in this lineup, they've shown what they're actually capable of. I mean, Malaysia on his debut completely pocketed Mo Salah. Diogo Dalots has been showing that, he can pretty much be one of the best fullbacks in the league. He still needs time though. I think he's still a bit young, but I think with time, Ten Hag can get the best out of these players. I think he is the one who can get these performances into some consistent, I would say, products. And when that does happen, I think we'll be in a very, very secure position considering our defense, which we haven't really been for quite some time now. And yeah, I think definitely if we are able to get someone for competition, it is going to help. We'll have more versatility when it comes to the right back position. But at the moment, I feel secure when I see Diogo Dalo in that lineup when I at that right back position.
You mentioned Erik Ten Hag there. Does he deserve a lot of credit for the way Dalot's performing at the minute? And would you say he's in the best form of his life so far from what you've seen from him?
I think right now what Dalot is showing is that when he gets consistent game time, when the manager is actually able to back him, he can actually generate good performances. Because up until now, when Mourinho came in, he had a short stint under him. Then when Oli came in, he was completely removed from the lineup. I would say he went on loan to AC Milan as well. And under Ragnick, I think it was 50-50 with him and Wan-Bissaka. I think this is the first time that he's actually being treated as the first choice fullback for us, and he's getting consistent game time. And I think Ten Hag would actually love to work with someone like Dalot because he does fit his profile when it comes to a fullback, and he's still in that area where he can develop into something very, very good. He's still got loads of potential. He's still young, and in this little time, I think I've been quite impressed. I see a more positive future when I see Diogo Dalo being involved in our lineup, and I think it will definitely it definitely comes down to Ten Hag as to how he actually wants to use him in this lineup moving forward. If he's still interested in filling that right back position first, or he wants to go in for a midfielder first, I think it would definitely come down to Ten Hag. But I think Ten Hag has changed his attitude his body language completely. He looks far more confident on the ball. He looks more composed on the ball as well. And yes, we've seen Ten Hag is really good when it comes to managing younger players. He's able to generate some really, really great talents, and Dalot might be one of them as well.
Just a few comments in the chat. I want to big everyone up for joining. Appreciate your support. We've got a bit of a Shreyas con going on here. So we've got obviously Sam and Dana in the chat. Always say Dalot is the man. We've got I'm struggling. Ritika Sharma saying hello, Shreyas. Navia Pali saying Shreyas. So a lot of love for you in the chat again. And is this Sunday social or Shreyas con? Bit of both. I'm happy to enjoy both. Just the last bit on the lads from Portugal. Is Diogo Dalots' two other international teams, Cristiano Ronaldo and Bruno, both getting a goal involvement last night. I was listening to a podcast about 3 a.m. because I was struggling to sleep last night for whatever reason. I have no idea why, but I was, so I just put a podcast on, and I was listening to Talk of the Devils, which has journalists like Andy Mitten, who's got good ties with United, and Laurie Whitwell. And they was talking about the Athletic did an interview with Bruno Fernandes. I'm not sure if you saw it. I'm pretty sure we've covered it anyway.
Yeah.
And he was asking about his relationship with Cristiano Ronaldo and how they both kind of clash and occupy the same spaces. Do you subscribe to this theory with these two that they cannot play in the same team together? Or do you think there's a clash there? Do you think there's something going on?
I don't think that there's a clash because as far as I've seen up until now, Bruno is one of the players I would say who I actually idolizes Cristiano Ronaldo. They've been playing quite well when they've been playing for Portugal, and I would say they play in pretty much the same profile as to the positions they occupy under Ten Hag in the United lineup as well. Bruno plays as a 10, Cristiano plays as a striker. It's the same for Manchester United as well. I think with up until now, the problem has been that our playstyle has been so cramped that we are seeing Ronaldo drop too deep into the midfield. We're seeing Bruno actually trying to dig deep and move the ball forwards. But I think under Ten Hag, we're still yet to see how Bruno and Cristiano are able to develop that chemistry. I think that chemistry is definitely there because for Portugal it exists and it works quite well as well. But yeah, I think it's under Ten Hag we still need to see as to how it works because up until now we haven't really seen Ronaldo feature that much for us in this season. except for the first few games. We haven't really seen Ronaldo feature for us. And in the games in the Europa League that he has featured, I think they were very weird games, I would say. I would just say they were pretty weird games. There was not much going on. And I think Ronaldo does still bring something completely different to the table. We've seen that against Arsenal as well, that he's able to get players moving more forward, because whenever you actually play Cristiano Ronaldo in your lineup, the limelight is completely on him. So I think Bruno and Cristiano can still work. I think they definitely can, especially if you got someone like Eriksen around. They definitely can work together, because the pressure of carrying the ball forward completely, it definitely goes off for both of them. I think Ronaldo can actually do what he's best at, occupy the best positions in the box, and Bruno can do what he's best at, make those passes and move forward. So I hope it works, but we still have to see it. We haven't really seen them both working together on the pitch under Ten Hag.
Under Ten Hag as well, yeah.
Exactly.
Especially,
yeah.
Need that magnifying glass to see how that would work out. We got some Atta in the chat saying, "Let's go, some Atta. Big up yourself." Big up everyone in the chat again. All right, then let's move it on. We're going to do a kind of international review at some point next week and look at some of the other players who've been performing well, like Christian Eriksen, Scott McTominay, Rafi Varane. We're going to do a full show on that, so we will get into that. I just wanted to discuss Dalot, especially because of the way he played last night. I'm going to move on to the next topic, which is going to divide some opinion. Massive talking point in the media at the moment, and it's David De Gea's contract situation, Shreyas. I just want to read out a thing from Fabrizio Romano, what he's put in Caught Offside, which I think it's a journalist thing that he writes for. I'm pretty sure it's that. He says, "For sure, the David De Gea situation has to be clarified, but I'm told on both player and club side there is still no decision." That's a quote finished, but this is me kind of thinking. He's got 9 months left on his current contract. He's on £375k a week. Our wage bill last season was £384 million, which brings more pressure to cut these kind of contracts, as I'm sure you know what the Glazers are like. With time running out on the David De Gea decision, a report also suggests that Jordan Pickford has multiple clubs keeping an eye on his current contract, which is set to expire in 2024. Pickford's on the ball ability will likely be favoured by the Dutch manager, who likes to control possession across the field. Last season, United conceded 56 goals last year, their highest tally in any single campaign. But since De Gea has had Dalot, Varane, Lisandro Malaysia in front of him, he's only conceded 2 goals. He's been a very important player for us in the darkest of times, and he's had more Player of the Year awards than anyone. So I just wanted to offer some counterbalance, some arguments there as to pros and cons regarding the situation. I know you're a fan of De Gea. I know he's got a little spot in your heart. Just talk to me, how would you handle the situation if you're Erik Ten Hag on the board now?
I think if you look at it from both ends, De Gea isn't looking like a player who's wanting to leave Manchester United. I think he's been here for many years. He's been a devoted servant to the club, and under Ten Hag, I think definitely the fact that the moment that our defense has changed, he's only conceded 2 goals, and one of them and those 2 goals weren't really goals where he could actually do something about it. And we've looked far more composed at the back. Yes, a little bit of his distribution has been off, but I think if you have to compare it to the first 2 games that we had, if you have to compare his distribution from those 2 games to the next 4 to 5 games that we've had, he's looked far more better. He's looked far more composed while throwing the ball out. He's and even while building from the back, he's been looking much more composed. Coming down to his contract, yes, he's on 375k a week, one of the highest paid goalkeepers in Europe. Considering his age, I think considering his age, I don't really see him being one of those players who would want to be a second choice keeper, because I think when it comes to keepers, this is his prime age. Definitely, it is his prime age when it comes to keepers, and I think if De Gea is able to cope up with the pressure, if he is able to eliminate that distribution point of area in his play, I really don't see why we need to actually move him further, because if he is able to work on that, we've pretty much got the perfect goalkeeper in Europe, because when it comes to his shot stopping ability, there is no one better than David De Gea in this whole league. There is no one who would even come close to his shot stopping ability. But once again, I think it would actually come down to how Ten Hag wants to approach this situation. If he actually rates De Gea, I don't really see him being one of those guys who would want to let him go further or move on to a different club, because he's been by far one of our most consistent players over this past decade till the time that he's been here. One of the biggest reasons why we are in the Europa League as well. And I think considering with everything that has been going on, especially comments from Harry Maguire coming out as well that De Gea isn't able to communicate that well because he is not that well versed in English and things like that. I think after this international break ends, Ten Hag will have a lot of issues to deal with because of the kind of comments that these players have actually come out with in this international break.
Like
Exactly.
Avengers Civil War. Everyone's just going like that.
Because you can see Bruno's coming out with comments, Maguire's coming out with comments, and the biggest fact is Bruno is our club captain right now, and Harry Maguire is pretty much the captain of our club, and both of them have pretty much come out with I would say contradicting statements. So I think when this international break ends and the players are able to go back, there is going to be a lot of buzz around United. I think the Gea's contract situation will once again be another one of those areas, because I really don't. If De Gea does leave, I don't want him to leave on a free. I don't think if we let someone like David De Gea go on a free, I think it would just be a loss to us, a big loss to us, because I still see him. If he does leave, I still see him going to a top club. I think there are still going to be clubs who would want him to be in his team, and if you actually look at it in that direction, De Gea could easily get us 50 to 60 million. Easily, he can get us 50 to 60 million, which could be overall used to actually bolster our squad for the next season. So whatever it is, I would want it to be resolved before the January transfer window. I don't think that we should stall on it after that window, because things are just going to get tougher with the Glazers, whether it comes to players outgoings or players who we want to sign. So I think it would be clear by Christmas whether he's going to stay or whether he's going to leave. I still see him be starting for us. Whether or not he leaves or whether he stays, I think he'll still be starting for us till the end of the season, because I don't see him using Dubravka ahead of David De Gea in Premier League games or Europa League games. We haven't really seen that up until now, so I don't see it happening in the future. But I just don't want us to actually lose out on someone like De Gea. Even if we do lose out on him, I would want to actually generate some cash from him, because we've seen how much it hurt us when we let Ander Herrera leave on a free. Don't want that same situation again.
Absolutely, I agree with that. It's interesting to see what other people think as well. Put your comments in the section and let us know how you feel about this David De Gea situation. Would you give him a new contract? Have a think about it. We're going to discuss it a little bit more now. Do you think he's warranted a new contract? And what would his wage go up to, do you think? Just two separate questions there for you.
I think when it comes to his wage, it could be the same. Maybe it could be cut down a bit, because I really haven't seen, up until now, I haven't really seen David De Gea being one of those players who's been, considering how much he's actually earning at this club. He's been at 375k for quite some time, and even if he does take a pay cut, I think he'd still be on around 300 or 325 easily.
Not bad, is it?
Yeah, exactly.
It about fucking 100 years to earn that. What he gets in 1 week.
But I would definitely still give him a contract extension, because if we don't, he's going to leave on a free. And someone like David De Gea being on...
Sorry to cut you in there. Would you extend it by what? Just a couple of years? So you wouldn't give him a long-term
at least
contract?
2 years, because I think having 2 years on the deal would give us at least a situation where we can negotiate with another club who might be interested in buying him. Because if we give him just a 1 year extension, they can just wait it out. They can just wait it out for a half season and actually get him for a bargain price or a free. If we have, I think having 2 years on his contract gives us the perfect position to actually negotiate a deal. And if we do negotiate a deal, we can easily generate 50 to 60 million. I think if you look at it in that way, he's one of the biggest assets we've got if you want to generate cash, because he takes a big portion out of the wages, and he would get a lot of cash in as well when it comes to his transfer money as well. And I think wherever he goes, he'll still be playing at one of the top clubs. And yeah, I just don't want it to, actually keep on dragging on. Like we've seen certain deals being dragging on, that even when the season starts, we are still negotiating for an extension. I don't want that situation to actually kind of happen, because it just completely stalls any other deal that we actually work on. We can't work on multiple deals. We've seen that in this
Has
transfer
to be
window
done
itself. Yeah, it has to be
before
done
thingy done it.
before. Yeah, I think it definitely has to be done before Christmas, because the longer
Will he
we
be
wait
able
on
to
it,
sign a pre-contract in January? Because he's got 9 months left on it. If he gets to January and he's only got 6 months left, he could actually sign a
yeah,
pre-contract with another club.
exactly, he can, exactly, and
Mm.
you can. And I think if we are able to work on that, it would actually help us to move into the future and see what we want to sign. Because one thing is for certain, whether or not the Glazers are willing to spend or not, Ten Hag wants to spend. Ten Hag definitely wants to spend. Ten Hag definitely wants to get them players in. And the way he's got about 4 to 5 players in this window, at least he'll be getting 2 to 3 players in the next one as well. Whether it's with the Glazers or without the Glazers, it will still happen.
Hopefully
And yeah, hopefully without. But either way, I don't. I know that we can't work on multiple deals. It took us four seasons pretty much to actually get rid of Andreas Pereira. So I know what this club is capable of when it comes to renewing contracts and selling players on. So I think if we are able to sort it out by Christmas, it would be good. If we are able to going to drag it on, it's going to get a lot more complicated, because any club in the world would actually want to come in for someone like David De Gea if he's available on a free.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a couple of comments from Dan in the chat that I want to jump into. So his problem with David De Gea is his distribution, which can be improved under Eric Ten Hag. Then why not keep De Gea when we expect other players to improve under Eric Ten Hag? Then why not wait for De Gea to improve under Eric Ten Hag? That's a good point. It'll be very, very tough to sell De Gea. No club will be willing to pay that much for a goalkeeper until it's Madrid, Barca, PSG. At the moment, no top club is in need of a goalkeeper, and that's the issue that lies currently. Obviously, if a club was going to go in for him, the wages, as we discussed, is a massive stumbling block. I don't know how they get past that. And then it's the point of someone needing a keeper. You look at clubs around Europe at the minute. Courtois had a great season for Madrid in the Champions League last season. Ter Stegen's done well for Barcelona. PSG have the potentially the best new kind of upcoming goalkeeper in Donnarumma, and they've got Keylor Navas as well as a secondary keeper. So there isn't a team out there screaming for one at the minute. That's what I'm racking my brain to try to think of who.
I think Atletico might. I think Atletico might.
What about Oblak, though? I know we didn't have a great season, did they?
Last
season,
and there have been statements coming out that Simeone is potentially might be looking for someone new, because Oblak, what he was 3 years ago, he's not right now. We saw it last season, and we see it on the pitch as well now. As good as he has been, as good as he is, there is definitely a scope there. I think Atletico might make a move for him. I think he pretty much came from Atletico Madrid as well, so there is a connection over there. So I think Atletico might move in for him. An Italian club might still move in for him. You never really know, because how the league actually works. You might see someone like a Napoli or someone coming in for him. So
yeah,
I think there's still going to be scope. If he's available on a free, I think definitely any club would want to move for him, because if you're able to eliminate that transfer fee, I think De Gea would be a good goalkeeper if he agrees to take I would say a slight pay cut, like 275k, 250k. I still see that happening, because I don't really see him being that sort of a money-oriented player. Up until now, I haven't really seen him, being one of those players who actually keeps that much of a track on wages.
And we've got a poll in the chat. Should David De Gea stay or leave? Take a look at that. Let us know your thoughts on it. And I wanna finish off on some quick fire questions with David De Gea. Shreyas, so just simple yes or no, if you can, for me. Will he get a new contract?
Yes.
Yes. What team would sign him? I think we've already covered that, but do you think Atletico?
Yeah, I think Atletico might sign him.
Is he in the conversation with Van der Sar and Schmeichel?
He should be.
He should be. Okay.
I mean, the amount of clean sheets he's had, the amount and the kind of defenders he's actually been playing with when he's got the player of the year.
The seasons.
Exactly my point. I mean, none of these guys have had Chris Smalling, Daley Blind, Harry Maguire, or Victor Lindelof to actually deal with.
Would you consider him one of the greatest goalkeepers of the Prem era?
I already do.
I really do. I think it's silly asking because I know you absolutely love David De Gea. I know you're a massive fan of his. So there's a slight
I mean,
bite, maybe
the
red
first,
tinted.
I think the first clip that I ever saw after seeing, the young Wayne Rooney for Manchester United was David De Gea making a save of a Juan Mata free kick when he was at Chelsea. That was the first clip I ever saw from Manchester United, and that's the point from where on I actually started, completely following the club like dedicatedly. And for me, David De Gea was the person who actually drew me towards the club.
You get that nostalgia, don't you? I had the
Yeah.
same thing with Ronaldo. People are going to go, well, obviously you had it with Ronaldo, whatever. But I've said this many of times. When Ronaldo was at Sporting Lisbon, I had a picture of him on my wall when he had his noodle haircut and his teeth and stuff like that. Very young, even before he came to Manchester United. And I've been obsessed with him ever since. And watching him grow from a player he is now to a certain point, you do have that nostalgia and kind of bias that naturally comes with it, where you want to protect him, don't you? So I completely understand it. It is what it is. But be interested to see what happens with David De Gea. I suppose we're going to find out at least within the next kind of 2 to 3 months, you would think, and that contract will be sorted either way by December. So yeah, we'll keep an eye out on that. Final topic to get into today, Mr. Shreyas Singh, is the interview with Nemanja Matic. So we've been talking to Times Sport, and there's a couple interesting things that he's come out with. So he was speaking about Harry Maguire. He said what people are doing to him, it is a disaster. Everything has to have limits, and some of those people writing on social media, they don't have their own lives, so they just have to write bad things about someone else. Now, my first point on this, and again, I'm going to ask you about it as well, is I agree that no player should be abused on social media regardless of their form or regardless of how bad they're playing. That's just straight out there. No one deserves abuse. But the players that are coming out, like Matic, Williams, they're making it sound like this kind of hunting party. And no criticism is warranted, apparently. Like he's been terrible, so fans get emotional at times. You get you understand it, don't you? You understand why fans kind of vent their frustration towards it because of how bad he's actually playing. Some people take it over the top. I understand that, and you start getting personal and things like that. But you can't have a go at fans for venting the frustration or venting their opinions. How do you feel about this Maguire situation at the minute? Because I haven't really spoken to you about it the past couple of days.
I think the thing with Harry Maguire has been I think it is got more to do with the management as well, because there have been situations where every single person has been asking why is he being picked ahead. I think in a few games last season, if Maguire hadn't been picked, this wave wouldn't have been this strong that it is right now. There were so many games where he could have easily been dropped. We saw players who were more deserving. If they would have been given a shot, Maguire wouldn't have gotten the hate that he's getting right now, because the biggest factor about all this was no matter how bad he was playing, he was still getting picked. And he was one of the reasons why we were performing that badly. Yes, a player should definitely not get abused. I definitely agree with that. But you can't take it out on every single fan who's, pretty much been supporting the club or is just, is pretty much just coming from an area of constructive criticism. I think there's still a big area of a United fan base that comes from that area. And yes, there are still many people who actually go in that direction of abusing, but I don't agree with that. But I think for Maguire, the best thing to do would be to actually show something to shut the fans on the pitch, actually start playing well, actually start being consistent. That's the best way you can shut people off. That, and the kind of statements that he's coming out with, he's definitely shown in this interview, in these press conferences, that he's not fit to be a captain. You would never expect a captain to actually come out and throw other players under the bus, that I haven't really been playing well because the players around me aren't really able to help me out. They aren't that good enough that I can play to the best of my ability. Exactly. I mean, Cristiano Ronaldo was in the same squad and he scored 18 goals in the Premier League last season. It was the same for other players as well. And you wouldn't expect someone like I would say like Azpilicueta at Chelsea. You would never come in and expect something like this coming out from him, because when you're a captain, you're supposed to lead from the front. You're supposed to be the person who is able who every single player looks at and can generate some charisma, can generate some momentum. He's not that player. He's pretty much shown that. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, rolling back the years, the captains that we've had, you would never expect Roy Keane coming out and saying, I am not able to perform that well because this player is playing in the squad.
Exactly.
This player is not that great.
Well,
There's
even Lisandro now, Lisandro
yeah,
Martinez, he got asked the other day after his performance against Honduras, where he played
yeah,
really well. He got asked, and I was like, what do you think about the English press, the English media, blah, blah, blah. And he literally just said, I don't care about him. I don't focus on him. I'm
yeah,
focused on my own game and improving it day in, day out. He don't get involved in it. It's just like, I don't care. Maguire seems like the opposite end of that spectrum, but I'm glad you mentioned Roy Keane there, because Nemanja Matic has actually been talking about Roy Keane as well, which
yeah,
at the best times is a little bit dicey if you're going to criticise someone like Roy Keane, who's obviously held in high prestige amongst United fans. But he's so he said, I have respect for what Roy Keane has done, but he needs to understand that football has changed. If I play for Chelsea, I cannot say I hate them. I cannot be angry when I'm talking to the press after the game. So what he says in public, to be honest, I don't really care. I know what I've done in my career and I'm very happy. Now, again, I want to pick out a few things from that. Football has changed. I completely agree. It's not the same. However, the mentality and winning should never change. And, you know, maybe Roy Keane's a little bit old-fashioned in that way. And maybe it can be a bit too harsh. But if you look at his career, his discipline, everything he's won, his longevity, his standards, everything Roy Keane he has done correctly. So if he's coming out and criticising someone for a certain thing, I know he's got a bit of bite about him and he does go too far at times, but he's doing it from a good place and he's doing it because he's been there and he's done that at the very highest level. What do you think about these comments that Matic has said about Roy
think definitely I would say a strong opinion about it, and I definitely agree with the fact that football is changing. I think in the next 2 years it would change a lot more. Definitely would. I think players now do need to be more adaptable when it comes to how they perform and how they actually play on the pitch. But when it comes to their attitude, I think every single person, whether it's a Madrid fan, whether it's a United fan, whether it's a Barcelona fan, any fan in the world, they would still want their players to have the old school attitude that these players have had. Players like Vidic, players like Roy Keane, players like Wayne Rooney. I think Wayne Rooney is a prime example of, an adaptable player who's, going through a lot of changes through football and is still performing at the top. And he still has that elite mentality, of demanding the best from everyone on the pitch. Actually, working towards to being the best on the pitch and actually not creating, I would say, controversy when it comes to, how someone or another team is performing on the pitch. We see that in Lisandro now. We definitely see that in Lisandro now, that his mentality, that's the kind of mentality we actually want from every single player on the pitch. Because when you have a
centre back in it.
Yeah, exactly. Because whenever we've had a captain, if I would say before Jose Mourinho and every single one, our captain used to be like commanders, like literal commanders. They used to be on the pitch. It used to look like, they emitted that aura that they are the captain. They used to,
fear as well, wasn't it? You had that fear
exactly
factor about him, where you just like, you do not want to upset them or misplace a pass. You do it with Maguire. He's the one actually misplacing the passes and making the errors. So
our captain has become a meme.
A long way. Exactly.
Our captain has become a meme.
Yeah, I agree with that. The last kind of quote I want to touch on is Matic has been talking about Erik ten Hag. But before we do that, make sure you like the video. If you're just looking at your screen now, bottom left corner, just tap that like there and subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're trying to reach 600. We're pushing it. We're getting there slowly but surely. We're trying to hit that before the next United game, which is obviously the massive Manchester derby. We're going to touch on that later as well. Just a quick little review. So Nemanja Matic said, I see the way Ten Hag wants to play. And I think that's the right way. And there was a couple more things, bits about it as well, where he was praising Erik ten Hag, and it seems like he looks like the right coach. I'm hearing a lot of praise for Erik ten Hag from current players, former players, coaches around the world, which is always a good sign. He's had some big decisions to make the season, Shreyas. And I have to, in my personal opinion, going forward now, I completely trust the guy. I trust him with everything he's doing because he's super intelligent. He gets the best out of players, which we've seen from McTominay, Rashford, Dalot. He's outclassed Mikel Arteta and Klopp tactically in both the games. anyone who goes and watches them full 90 minutes back will see that he outdone him with the players at his disposal. And every player that he's brought in has all hit the ground running pretty much. Aside from maybe Anthony and Casemiro, who still have settling in periods, which it's natural that happens all the time. So I think it's been an extremely good start from Ten Hag. How would you assess how he's done so far? Like all the praise he's getting from the media and from players and coaches, it's warranted, right?
Yeah, it definitely is. And I think one of the best factors about Ten Hag is he isn't a stubborn manager. He saw in the first 2 games that, he can't really work with a certain kind of play style. He can't really work with that 70% possession play style because he hasn't really got the players to, function in that style. He changed things about, especially against Liverpool, I would say. It was the first time against Liverpool where I would say that, we were dominating the game for quite some time. In patches, we were able to dominate the game quite well. I think he did something that no other manager could have done when they came to Manchester United. He benched Cristiano Ronaldo and he benched Harry Maguire alongside as well. He completely, shifted the balance of that back four, and that back four looks concrete. I would say definitely it looks concrete. It is very well balanced when it comes to attack as well as defending as well. And you can see that, the qualities and I would say the personalities of all those players in that back four are actually, growing on each other. We can see Dalot actually, getting more fired up, trying to actually get more momentum during games. We can see Rafael Varane actually, playing like Rafael Varane, the Varane that we actually wanted last season. We're finally seeing the best version of Varane in a Manchester United shirt. Lisandro looks far more composed on the ball alongside Varane, and Malacia, at the young age that he is, he's playing very, very well. I think he's learning from his mistakes every single game. He's still adapting, but from what I'm seeing, he's still delivering very, very nicely. I think Luke Shaw will have to spend more time on the bench till the time Malacia is fit. And I would say the same for Maguire as well, till the time...
Sorry, there's a good age profile in there with that back line. I think Lisandro's only 24, 25. You've got Dalot 21, 22, Malacia who's 21 as well, I think. So you've got years in there as well. And then the attackers that he's brought in, you've got Rashford, Sancho, Anthony as well, who have got years in them. So there's longevity there as well, isn't there? Whereas when Mourinho was signing players, it would be like Matic, who's 28, Alexis Sanchez, who's there was no kind of longevity in it. They was there for like the 2-3 years, and then once he goes, we have to deal with their problems then. Whereas Ten Hag's automatically thinking about the future.
Yeah, it definitely is. And like we mentioned the other day, when it comes to our midfield, we don't really have a Pedri or Gavi wherein we can say that, we are sorted for the next 10 years. I think when it comes to our defense, we can say that. Definitely. I wish we did as well. But I think when it comes to our defense, I can actually make that statement. I think Malacia has got his best year still to come. I think Dalot fits into the same category. I think Martinez is going to be sticking around for quite some time. And we've got the perfect blend of experience with Rafael Varane being in there, who's in his prime, I would say. And I think when it comes to exactly, and he's the one who's actually commanding that back line, and he's doing that very, very well. The only concern would be if he gets injured or not. I think if he's able to stay fit, if he's able to work on his injury record, I think we've got the best defense in pretty much the last 7 to 8 years for Manchester United. And I think even when you look at the attack with Rashford, Sancho and Anthony, I think when Anthony is able to settle in, I think he would easily rip it apart. I think once again, he's working under the same manager he worked at Ajax. And the moment he settles in, the way Dalot is playing as well right now, I think we could see a lot of our attacks getting more traction from the right hand side as well. Because up until now, what we used to see was it used to be Jadon Sancho and that left hand flank, which used to be the pivot for us, from where the creativity and from where the goals used to come. And now with Anthony coming in, I think there would be a better balance from the left as well as the right hand flank. And with Eriksen and Bruno being in the middle, it looks like a more balanced lineup. Even the players that he's going in for now, like we got linked with Cody Gakpo, which could still be happening in the future. He's very, very young. We still have a striker on the cards as well. the category that Ten Hag would like to go for. I think once again we'll be getting a young striker. And for a midfielder, he wanted to get Frankie de Jong. Once again, Frankie de Jong is also fairly young. So yes, whatever player he's going for now, whatever he's trying to develop here, it definitely, is a squad where I could say that there is longevity in there. What he wants to do, he can do it for the next 5 to 6 years. And you've got the perfect blend of experience with players like Ronaldo, Casemiro, Varane, even Bruno now. I think they're looking far more integrated into the squad, and that's what you want the veterans to, actually be able to integrate and able to share their experiences, help mentor them to better players. I think the only concern for Ten Hag would ultimately be how the board backs him and how the media actually, comes out for players like Antony. Because once again, Antony was an 85 million signing. As far we all know that, players coming in from the Eredivisie, they take time to adapt to the Premier League. And considering the price tag that Antony has had, the media will be gunning for him whenever he has a bad performance. So I think as United fans, we need to protect both the player as well as the manager, because this manager, for the first time, I would say, has shown that he can actually, build this team. He can actually build us into something special, something that could actually compete for the league and more trophies in the future. Hopefully, it happens soon, but I would want Ten Hag and as well as the players, that he brings in to be given time. He definitely needs time. There is still a lot of work to be done. Like you mentioned earlier as well, that there are going to be games wherein we won't be that impactful on the ball. There would be games that would be lackluster, but it is because it is still a process. We are still building it out from the back. But right now, I would say, we've just cemented our defensive line. I think the next step for him is to, fix that midfield, and then we'll be moving on forward to the attack, and then probably a goalkeeper as well. So I think I see a really, really stable and a really positive future under Ten Hag. And yeah, I think apart from the English media, I think and the fact that the Glazers are still in charge, these are the only two things that would be obstacles to him.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. I was just nodding along because I was like, yeah, ticking everything off. Like, Ten Hag's the man at a minute. Trust the process. That's what I would say. There's a comment from Joseph Jack who said, our players performing in international games is all because of Ten Hag. The form, you have to credit the manager for the form and what he's done with them. And he's instilled this like confidence and belief in him. And
Exactly.
I feel like you would have seen the same thing from if Sancho got picked for England. I think you would have seen the same thing from him. I think if Rashford didn't have that little injury and he would have gone, he would have performed similar. So the manager deserves massive credit. Like I said before, he's got so much shit on his plate that he doesn't even get credit for. That he has to deal with.
He's getting the best out of Scott McTominay. Everywhere. He's got McTominay to perform consistently.
He's got McTominay playing like elite. Do you know what I mean? Like, what more can you say? We saw his
someone who was
like,
completely
someone was season. Yeah,
exactly. Yes, so he was completely written off on all the cards. I mean, before the league started, I think there was a league that West Ham are looking to actually, get Scott McTominay in, and we declined that offer. And every single fan was, actually questioning, should we have turned down that offer? Because as dedicated and as passionate as Scott McTominay is, he isn't able to back it up with his ability on the pitch. For the first time in 4 to 5 years, Scott McTominay has been performing well. He's performing consistently, and he's doing that against the big teams like Liverpool and Arsenal, who are playing quite well. So I was
saying about McTominay, sorry to put you in there, Shreyas.
Yeah,
I was saying about McTominay, selling for 20-25 mil, go get a Tillman.
Yeah.
How many times do you say that? But that's because like fans can't criticize themselves now for saying that, because at the time he was performing so bad. People would have took like 15 mil for him and rather kept someone like James Garner, which we're still kind of frustrated about to this day. But you can't really criticize fans for thinking that, because he was shocking. No. Especially under Ole. We hated McFred. Absolutely hated it.
I think McFred was definitely not getting the best out of each other. I think it was a quite defensive and pragmatic pivot. And up until now, the only good games that McTominay used to have were against Leeds and Burnley. That were the only two games where you would, actually see McTominay playing well. Except that he used to be completely on shutdown for the entire season. Now he's starting to perform well under this manager.
Burnley because of height. Every time we played Burnley
Yeah.
when we were doing the lineup predictions, I knew McTominay would be in there just because
Yeah.
McTominay and Matic would always play because of height. And then Leeds because he had that freedom because Leeds was so like ultra attacking under Bielsa. Scott would always have that free kind of run as an 8 and be that box to box. But he's developed his game now and he looks better. And again, that is credit to Erik ten Hag. It's been an extremely good start from him. Let's continue the progress. It starts with Man City at the weekend. Absolute massive game. Biggest game so far. I know Liverpool, everyone looks at that, but the form they're in at the minute, it was kind of, it was a big game for us at the time, I will admit that. But Man City are absolutely running it at the minute. They've got Erling Haaland, who's going to be playing against Lissandro. He's going to have round 2 of that, which is going to be very interesting to see how he deals with that situation. There's so many different variants coming into it, which makes it such an interesting game. We'll have a preview for that on Saturday and then covering the game. Is it on Sunday? I feel like it's on.
I think it is
Super Sunday, isn't it? Let me just double check. Yeah. So 2:00 kickoff on Sunday. So we'll have the preview on Saturday, and obviously we'll have a watch along on the Sunday, which will be massive. So make sure you tune in for that. We will have content every single day before that big game. So make sure you keep an eye out for the content schedule on our Instagram, so you can see what show is on which day. Monday to Sunday, there's a show every single day. So make sure you tune in for that as well. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in today as well. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and like the video. We really appreciate all the support you guys have been showing so far, and this community is getting bigger and bigger every single day, and that's thank you to you lot. So thank you very much. We genuinely appreciate that. Shreyas, do you have any final thoughts before we head off?
I think the only parting comment I would say, if you are an England fan, I hope Southgate gets sacked soon. I definitely do hope that Southgate gets sacked soon, because it gets hard for me to actually watch games as well. Like I turned on the game of England this weekend, and it was really tough to see. So yes, I hope Southgate gets sacked soon. I hope the Glazers are shown the exit sign soon as well. But yes, except that, we are really close to 600 subs. Hopefully we are able to attain that before the Man City watch along. And yes, the other socials are also in the graphic below: TikTok, Twitch, Twitter, as well as Instagram. So please make sure to follow us on that. The schedule, as well as all the live schedules and watch alongs, everything will be posted there. So make sure to follow us, and thank you for all the love that you've shown us in the small time that we've been here. We've hit 575. So please keep showing us this support, and hopefully we'll be able to move much further.
Yeah, pick up Vincent Bullock in the chat, Joseph Jack, Sum Ate, Navaya, Pali, Ratika Sharma, Sam, Dan. You know the score, guys. Thank you very much. We will see you in the next one. Like I said, check out the content schedule on Instagram, and you'll see what show is on which day. Peace. Take care, guys. Have a lovely Sunday. Bye-bye.